I want to start this topic by playing a clip by Steve Jobs at the commencement speech of Stanford University. We will discuss it after you hear it.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
What Steve really means is that there's so much noise and opinion in the world about what one should do or not do that it becomes hard to find a voice of our own. So, start finding what you really want and start working towards achieving the thing that you truly believe matters. In even simpler manner, stop giving a fuck about everything else but your dream. This is why I am eager to share this book walkthrough and understanding the subtle art of not giving a fuck. On seeing the title, you might have similar kinds of questions. Why should you give a fuck about this particular book? Should you not give a fuck about anything? How to build a successful business by not giving a fuck. Towards the end of this video, I am confident you will know exactly what is fuckworth and what is not. So let's dive right into it. Lesson number 1. Learn to focus on the important things in life and screw the rest. Opportunities are everywhere. We live in an era where we are presented with choices for almost everything. Careers, news sources, life partners, and soon we will have the option to either live in the real world or metaverse. In a perfect world, having a multitude of options should mean pure bliss, isn't it? Then, why are so many of us stressed out and unfulfilled? The simple explanation is we are trying to do it all. We're spreading ourselves too thin and burning ourselves out. Rather than focusing on any single option, we often tend to concentrate on all our different choices and opportunities all the time. It's important for us to realize that we need to find out what matters the most and concentrate on doing that. Everything else? Stop giving a fuck. Second lesson that we learn is: find the struggle that's right for you. We all have dreams in life. As kids, we might want to be doctors, teachers, an astronaut, or even superheroes. But, as time passes, these ambitions change as we are introduced to options, and yet, the question remains: what do you want out of life? What is your ultimate goal? The achievement that you want, written on your headstone? These are not easy questions to answer. Oh yes. Some of us may claim that we want happiness, a loving family, and work on something that we enjoy, but these are pretty vague ambitions, and vague ambitions are problematic because they will not help you push for success. Let's say becoming a CEO is your goal. Becoming a successful CEO certainly sounds cool. The power, the position, and other financial perks that come with the position. But there is always a flip side to every coin. For a CEO, it means putting in 60+ hours work weeks, taking stressful and difficult decisions. An ability to fire people from time and time again. If this type of life may seem like too much for you, you'll struggle with the hard work and your chances of being a successful CEO will be slim. Unfortunately, in order to be successful in life, you will have to struggle. In order to achieve your goals, you will have to put in hard work and perseverance. You will indefinitely face hardships and setbacks. Yet, those who are willing to fight for their goals have much higher chances of becoming successful. Mark Manson, the author of the book, figured out that he enjoyed writing about the dating world, and so he decided to focus on writing a dating advice blog. It was definitely a challenge at first, but because he loved what he did, he thrived on the difficulties. Eventually, the struggle paid off. The blog garnered thousands of subscribers, and it paid more than enough for Mark to make it his full-time job. Stop looking for life without struggles. Or an easy life. Rather look for a goal that makes you want to struggle from inside. However, it's equally important to say no to all the struggles and tasks that don't bring you joy. Be bloody ruthless and stop chasing the things in life that don't make you happy. And to everything else, stop giving a fuck. Third lesson. You're not special. What? Yes, you heard it. You're not special. Every single one of us can be exceptional and massively successful. Heard something similar before? I have been to motivational and business seminars where people in the room shout this crap together. According to psychology, the intention of shouting out such a statement was to develop high self-esteem. This was in the past. Maybe a decade before. The recent data shows that all of us are not exceptional. It turns out that merely feeling good about yourself doesn't really mean anything unless you have a good reason to feel good about yourself. It turns out that adversity and failure are useful and even necessary for developing strong-minded and successful adults. In other words, fuck positivity. Sometimes things are fucked up and we need to live with it. Yeah, it's probably better to see the glass half full than half empty. But sometimes the glass is full of shit. You cannot change that by being positive about it. We've become a generation that feels entitled. Entitled people feel that they deserve good things without actually earning them. And sooner or later reality will hit and it will be painful. Because reality is not a unicorn dancing on clouds. Or at least, there will be some clouds full of shit. The unicorn slips and breaks its horn. Bam! Life sucks. If something good happens to them, it's because of some amazing feat they accomplished. If something bad happens to them, it's because somebody is jealous and trying to bring them down a notch. Entitlement isn't impervious. People who are entitled delude themselves into whatever feeds their sense of superiority. It's the same for everybody. There's shit on every path. And yet, many people forget this. They feel entitled to get special treatment. According to Mark, that comes from the media, which only covers exceptional people. Good or bad? Because in the media business, that's what gets eyeballs, and eyeballs bring dollars. That's the bottom line. Yet the vast majority of life resides in the humdrum middle. The vast majority of life is unextraordinary, indeed quite average. Exceptional is the new normal. And because we're all quite average, we feel that we don't measure up and that we're not good enough. Being average has become the new standard of failure. So can I not be exceptional? Yes, you can. There's nothing wrong with trying to become exceptional at something. However, you need to realize first that you're only mediocre. And you need to work extremely hard in order to get there. You're not there yet. Not even near. All the people who actually are extraordinary are the ones who've become obsessed with improvement and work their asses off each and every day. Point is, it's okay to be average. It's okay to do ordinary things. Once we accept that we're as unspecial as it gets, we can start improving ourselves and getting better at whatever we want to. Or not. The knowledge and acceptance of your own mundane existence will actually free you to accomplish what you truly wish to accomplish, without judgment or lofty expectations. In order to become extraordinary and to do what you believe in, you need to follow or believe in some good values. This brings us to lesson number 4. Find some good values to believe in. Sigmund Freud's relatable quote reads,
"One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful."
Meaning, the struggle is what forges us. In future, when we have overcome said obstacles, we'll realize how they helped us grow. There is a 500 pound of shit waiting for you wherever you go. You will be suffering. The question is, for what purpose? Authors and writers, for example, write a lot and need to go through a lot of stress in terms of inspiration and hunting for relatable content. Athletes run through a lot of shit as well. Every day they get up and run. Even for 100 or 200 meters races, they go through intense training. That's the shit they choose. So, to determine what values you should choose, it is important to have self-awareness of oneself. In the book, Manson uses a metaphor, the self-awareness onion, to help us understand ourselves. Manson explains that self-awareness is like an onion. There are multiple layers to it, and the more you peel them back, the more likely you're going to start crying at inappropriate times. Benefits of self-awareness. It gives us the power to influence outcomes. It helps us to become better decision makers. It gives us more self-confidence, so, as a result, we communicate with clarity and intention. It allows us to understand things from multiple perspectives. It frees us from our assumptions and biases. It helps us build better relationships. It gives us a greater ability to regulate our emotions. It decreases stress. And it makes us happier. The first layer in self-awareness onion is about understanding one's emotions. This can be figured out by asking, how do I feel? What is this emotion? Answer, I am happy right now or I'm sad right now. After figuring this out, we come to the second layer of self-awareness, which is ability to ask why we feel certain emotions. Why am I sad? Why am I happy right now? The third and the final layer is our personal values. How do I measure success or failure? This is the most personal and the most important differentiating factor in figuring out oneself. This level, which takes constant questioning and effort, is incredibly difficult to reach. But it's the most important, because our values determine the nature of our problems, and the nature of our problems determines the quality of our lives. So clearly, knowing your values is important because in the end they determine the quality of your life. Here you ask yourself question to know what and why something bothers you. How am I choosing to measure myself? By what standard am I judging myself and everyone around myself? Keep on asking why. Why does this seem to bother me? You have to understand that what is objectively true about your situation is not as important as how you come to see the situation, how you choose to measure it and value it. These problems may be inevitable, but the meaning of each problem is not. We have the power to control it, depending on how we choose to think about them, the standard by which we choose to measure them. This next lesson denotes the greatest difference between a successful and a mediocre person. Lesson number 5. It's your responsibility. Sometimes we feel like victims. Meaning of victim mentality. A victim mentality refers to a state of mind in which a person feels helpless and as though the world is against them. Being or feeling like a victim is easy. But positive change only happens when you take full responsibility for your life. Therefore, in order to improve ourselves, there is one golden rule, that is, we are responsible for everything in our lives. If you understand this, you're golden. Listen carefully. Stop crying about your circumstances. It is still your responsibility. You might be born into a poor family or an average family, and yet, it is your responsibility. You have got to make choices that work for you. Mark Manson compares this to poker. People who constantly make the best choices in the situations they're given are the ones who eventually come out ahead in poker, just as in life. No matter the hand you're dealt, it's your responsibility to deal with the hand. It's about the choices you make. Yes, in poker as in life, some people are dealt better cards than others. But unlike a card game, life is long, and if you consistently take responsibility for your situation and make good choices, you'll eventually come out ahead in life. Oh. It is equally important to know the difference between blaming someone else for your situation and that person's actually being responsible for your situation. It is you and only you who is responsible for your situation and no one else. Because believe me, there are many people to blame for your unhappiness. You blame God, your parents, your enemy, your luck, and whatnot. But in the end, it is you who gets to choose how you perceive or see things, how much value you give to it, and most importantly, how you react to things. Let's say your doctor tells you to lift weights twice a week for health purposes. You do it, but it's always a pain in the ass to drag yourself to the gym. Lifting weights sucks because you haven't chosen it, but you got to do it. In a different situation, you didn't go to see your doctor, but you read some health magazine and learned that lifting weights twice a week would be good for you. You decide to do it. Now that you've chosen the situation yourself, you look at the problem way differently. Twice a week, you walk with a spring in your step to the gym. Often the only difference between a problem being painful or being powerful is a sense that we chose it, and that we are responsible for it. There is a simple realization from which all personal improvement and growth emerges. This is the realization that we, individually, are responsible for everything in our life, no matter the external circumstances. Chapter number 6. You are wrong about everything. Manson makes a point in his book that a while back, people were certain about things that we know today are utter bullshit. Like, in the past, people believed that the world was flat, or that the sun revolved around the earth, or that women were here to serve men, etc. Talk about yourself. As a younger version of yourself, your perception was different about certain things till the time reality hit you in your face. And, even now you might believe in something that your future self will consider total nonsense. Certainty is the enemy of growth. So, instead of striving for certainty, we should be in constant search of doubt. Doubt about our own beliefs. Doubt about our feelings. Doubt about what the future may hold for us unless we get out there and create it for ourselves. Instead of looking to be right all the time, we should be looking for how we're wrong all the time. Because we are. I want you to doubt everyone and everything. Doubt what Manson says. Doubt what I say. Doubt what your mama taught you, doubt what your professors are teaching you. Even doubt what you are telling yourself. Because doubting stigmas or perceptions creates a real understanding of one's real self. Uncertainty is the root of all progress and all growth. As the old saying goes, the man who believes he knows everything learns nothing. We cannot learn anything without first not knowing something. The more we admit we do not know, the more opportunities we gain to learn. And hence, embrace uncertainty. Manson offers us 3 questions that help us be a little less certain about ourselves. Question number 1: what if I'm wrong? As a general rule, we're all the world's worst observers of ourselves. When we're angry, or jealous, or upset, we're oftentimes the last ones to figure it out. It's worth remembering that for any change to happen in your life, you must be wrong about something. Before you protect your opinion like Gollum protects his precious, ask yourself, what if I was wrong? Question number 2: what would it mean if I were wrong? This goes a step further. What does it mean if you were wrong? In most cases, the answer would be something like this: if I'm wrong, then I'm behaving like a total asshole. Question number 3: would being wrong create a better or worse problem than my current problem, for both myself and others? This is the litmus test for determining whether we've got some pretty solid values going on, or we're totally neurotic fuckwads taking our fucks out on everyone, including ourselves. Are we just being a selfish idiot, or is there something to what we believe? That's simply reality. If it feels like it's you versus the world, chances are it's really just you versus yourself. When talking in terms to the world of business, it is wise to doubt your decisions constantly by asking, how can I make it better? It makes a huge impact. Lesson number 7. Accept your mistakes and insecurities to move forward. Since childhood, we have been made accustomed to failing. When a child learns to walk, it always falls several times before it gathers the courage to finally stand. It means it's improving. If you want to succeed at something, you will certainly have to fail many times. So, failure and pain is part of the process. We can be truly successful at something if we're willing to take the risk of failing. If we're unwilling to fail, we're unwilling to succeed. As we grow older, we develop avoidance of failure. Manson says, this has to do with our education system, like grades on performance, overbearing and critical parents' punishments, and with mass media feeding constant exposure to stellar success stories without the background of hard work. This avoidance of failure creates an avoidance of the necessary actions to succeed at things. Manson suggests setting process-oriented goals and just starting to take action with his do something principle. What is this do something principle, you ask? When I was in high school, my maths teacher Mr. Packwood used to say, if you're stuck on a problem, don't just sit there and think about it, just start working on it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, the simple act of working on it will eventually cause the right ideas to show up in your head. His real intention was that, don't just sit there, do something. The answers will follow. Most of us commit to action only if we feel a certain level of motivation. And we feel motivation only when we feel enough emotional inspiration. We assume that these steps occur in a sort of chain reaction. And that, my friend, is the do something principle. Pretty simple, isn't it? Don't think about whether you're doing it right or not. Just do it. It doesn't matter if you fail, because the only thing that counts is that you start doing something, anything. Personally, I run a business besides this YouTube channel, and if I have trouble getting started with work, I just clean my desk. That's super easy and only takes a few minutes. And suddenly, I feel like I could actually start working. Action is always within reach. And simply doing something is your only metric for success. Will eventually push failure away. There are times when you wish you could say no. But due to personal inhibitions, we have to unwillingly say yes or agree, despite the difference in opinion. The subtle art of not giving a fuck teaches us the importance of the two most important alphabets, which are N and O. No. Lesson number 8. Learn to say no, or the art of rejection. Rejection is an important and crucial life skill. Here, in our country, while talking, we are conscious and apologetic while conversing. But traveling through Russia, I realized for the first time that in order to fully trust others, you must be unapologetically honest with each other. I could say whatever I thought or felt, without the fear of repercussions. But, in the free West, there exists an abundance of economic opportunity, so much economic opportunity that it became far more valuable to present yourself in a certain way, and even though it was false, trust lost its value. This is why it became the norm in Western cultures to smile and say polite things even when you don't feel like it, to tell little white lies and agree with someone whom you don't actually agree with. Well, the downside of this is that you never know, in the West, if you can completely trust the person you're talking to. Therefore, we need to reject something. Otherwise, we stand for nothing. The point is this: we all must give a fuck about something in order to value something. And to value something, we must reject what is not that something. Mathematically speaking, to value X, we must reject non-X. Lesson number 9. Death is the destiny we all share. Death is scary. I know. And because it scares us, we avoid thinking about it, talking about it, sometimes even acknowledging it. Even when it's happening to someone close to us. Yet, in a bizarre way, if you think about it, death is the light by which the shadow of all life's meaning is measured. Without death, everything would feel inconsequential, all experience arbitrary, and values suddenly become zero. So, do you ever talk about death? Let me know in the comments section below. Probably not. Though, most of us opt not to. And there are two underlying reasons that Ernest Becker, in his book, The Denial of Death, mentions. The first one, terror of death. Humans imagine themselves in hypothetical situations. At some point, humans become aware of the inevitability of death. This leads to death terror, a deep existential anxiety that underlies everything we think or do. And the second one, immortality projects. Let me explain. Humans have two selves. A physical self that eats, sleeps, snores, and poops. And a conceptual self. This is the reason why people try so hard to get their names on buildings, statues, on spines of books, or in a constant search for the question: how do I want the world to remember me when I am gone? The legacy. As we know, our physical self is mortal. So, we try to make sure that our conceptual self will not be forgotten. Most often, people do not really live for life purposes, but for their immortality projects. We live with the desire to never truly die. Therefore, we do not truly live. Mark Twain famously said,
"The fear of death follows the fear of life. A man who lives fully is prepared to die at any time."
The only way to be comfortable with death is to understand and see yourself as something bigger than yourself. To choose values that stretch beyond serving yourself. That are simple, immediate, controllable, and tolerant of the chaotic world around you. This is the basic root of all happiness. So to sum it up, prioritize your fucks wisely. Learn to say no to things that don't matter. Find what is most important to you. And most importantly, learn to focus on what matters the most and fuck everything else. I hope you learned something here. If you did, press the like icon below, share it with your loved ones, and subscribe to the channel. Do let me know in the comment what is that one thing you give a fuck about in life. Thank you. See you in the next one, and I wish you all the success in the world.